What if I gave everyone in this room a donut? There's a catch though, because I want to record your brain activity while you eat it. And what if, from watching you eat this donut, I could tell you what the likelihood is that you develop a gambling addiction in your lifetime? How would this be possible? Addictions develop most often in individuals who have deficiencies processing rewarding events, such as eating a surprise donut. To overcome these deficiencies, they seek out bigger thrills, be it the high from a drug or the exhilaration of winning big at the casino. Reward processing in the brain begins at a chemical level. Cells in the brain communicate via chemical signals. Dopamine is one such chemical signal that underlies things such as motivation, habits, and the feeling of reward. The dopamine system is also what gets hijacked in both drug and behavioral addictions. So how can I access this dopamine system to learn more about it? Well, I actually have substances, viruses, that I can inject into the brain which make dopamine cells fluoresce green when they're active. So I can So I can see a little pulse of green light each time a dopamine cell activates. You might imagine then that I could monitor these fluorescent patterns and understand what's happening in the brain at any point in time. And in fact, that's what I do, using a collection of lasers and fiber optic cables to measure the amount of dopamine in your brain at a real time. I'd see signals such as this behind me, with that spike of green in the middle being the increase in dopamine levels in your brain as you enjoy that donut. However, if you had a reward processing deficiency, that spike would be lower and you would feel less enjoyment. Believe it or not, there are rather rigid ethics standards when it comes to testing on humans. So implanting fiber optic cables into human brains hasn't been approved, and I don't seem to have a long line of volunteers. Instead, I work with rats whose reward processing pathways are very similar to us humans. I train my rats on a task which mimics key aspects of gambling, such as competition and unpredictable outcomes. Then, while my rats gamble, I record their dopamine activity. Some rats are more enticed than others by the thrill of making risky choices. The brains of these rats process reward in abnormal ways, and these are the ones that are most likely to become addicted to gambling. I aim to find behavioral signatures in these rats that can be translated to humans and used to identify individuals at the highest risk of developing a gambling disorder. With this, we can diagnose these individuals with reward processing abnormalities ahead of time and be able to prevent addiction before it even starts. Thank you.